This is a podcast for spiritual downloads, star seeds, light workers, and authenticity. Spiritual awareness is advised. Welcome to the 1111 Synchronized Podcast. So glad that you are here. If you are just now joining, this is your first time here, welcome. If you are returning, like myself, welcome back. Thank you all for being here. So grateful for you guys. Let's all just stop what we're doing if we can and just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. One more time. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. You are right where you need to be. Everything else can wait. So thank you guys. We are back. We are renewed for a new season. 9 seasons, y'all. 9 seasons and counting. So grateful to all our sponsors, to our featured artist, Mary J. Wanna. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, please check out the previous episodes. Please, 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 I encourage you to listen and to share them. And thank you to all the people who are sharing them and who are listening. And if it resonates, please feel free to share it. And as always, if you have any topic requests or if you'd like to be a feature, please send me a direct message on social media platforms. On Instagram, you can find me at Agent K21 Podcast. On Twitter, you can find me at Agent K21. Reach out. Let's link up. If you are just now getting into your own podcast and you are starting to branch out and you want just a platform to kind of get that lift off going, definitely I'm here to help you guys in any way possible. So please reach out and let's collaborate. All that information will also be in the description as far as how you can reach me. So feel free to take a look at that. Great news coming up, guys. As always, if you are not subscribed, please check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Got some good news because this is going to be the first season with a visual representation of the hostess with the mostest. So if you have been watching the YouTube videos, I've been going back to my previous episodes and providing a visual representation. However, I wasn't recording myself at that time, but now I'm actually putting it all into motion. Got the MacBook jams going here with the video, and so you can see my whole setup here. It's nothing spectacular. I record in my closet here, not to be confused with Amber's closet, but I definitely enjoy the acoustics in this area. So if you are thinking about starting your own podcast, you don't need a lot of equipment. That's great if you have it, but if you don't, no worries. Keep it moving. Anyone can do this. I'm doing this. Clearly, anyone can do this. And yeah, I've missed you guys. I'm glad to be back. Hope you guys enjoyed the detox, the Selah, right? Everything we do, you have to take a breath and take a rest and just relax, you know. And so I hope that you guys are ready and charged and feeling all the vibes, feeling all the full moon and new moon and all this energy bursting through this Lionsgate time. So I hope that you guys are buckled up and ready to rock because it is season 9, and with 9 being the highest number, 9 is also a very highly karmic number. So if you want to know more about that, I would encourage you to get into numerology, study numbers, angel numbers, guidance numbers. Get into that, look into that. And I'll have some resources in the description below as well. And also, if you are looking for counseling or just having a tough time and just need someone to vent to, I provide donation-based counseling that has a holistic approach. So we talk about mental health. We also talk about spirituality. And perhaps maybe you've tried therapy or you've tried the traditional route, and I can tell you my platform is anything other than traditional. It's very unconventional way, but it is encompassing of all healing. And so if you are interested in that, that is definitely something I provide. The link is also listed below for that. And I think that's it for now as far as the announcements go. Hope that you guys are doing well. I just want to say, you guys are amazing. Okay, you guys are so amazing, right? Like, I'm so grateful. So grateful for all you listeners out there. Whether you've been here the whole time or you're just joining, doesn't matter. Even if you just clicked off, doesn't matter. I'm still grateful for you guys. So thank you guys so much for your support. Like, I'm just so much in awe every time, like the support that you guys give, and I'm giving it right back. So thank you guys very, very much. Today we're talking about, with all of that gratitude, we're talking about good karma, right? Because we talk about karma, but what is karma exactly? What is karma? And I just kind of want to talk about that, give some of my viewpoints, my opinion, and then we'll check out our best friend Google, see what Google has to say about karma. But you guys can find that information on your own. So I want to kind of share my thoughts on karma, because I do believe the wheel of fortune, if you will, is turning in our favor. I do believe that. I do know that to be true. And so no matter what you're going through, you might be like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm over here struggling. How is the wheel is still turning in your favor? Because it's either a blessing or a lesson. And sometimes the lesson is a blessing. So count it all joy. That's what I choose to do, and I encourage you to do the same. So I have some notes here that I'm going to kind of get these pin bulletins out, right? So I make sure I get all these topics that I want to cover as best as possible. That is my intention here. So what is karma? Okay, so in my opinion, karma is an opportunity to master a lesson that was previously not mastered before. So karma, to me, is an opportunity to master a lesson that was previously not mastered before. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, karma is part of universal laws that we have that govern the entire universe. The universe is in balance through harmony and through order. Okay. Now, a lot of times when we think of harmony, I like to, as a musician, I like to think of harmony in musical terms. So when you have something that's in harmony, there are different moving parts. You know, some person might be singing a different key, a different note, and another person might be singing a different pattern, a different rhythm, but it all works together in perfect harmony. And I think sometimes we think that harmony means similar, and that's the complete opposite. Harmony works through differences. You have to have an alto with a soprano and a tenor with whatever, you know, and you have to just keep that going. That's what creates harmony, and that's what creates balance. And that is what the universe strives for. It doesn't strive for, in musical terms, it doesn't strive for unison, which is everything is the same. You're singing the same pitch, the same note, nothing varies, nothing. That's not how the universe works. The universe works in harmony, meaning our differences balance each other. Our differences are welcomed and encouraged to be expressed. We don't want robots here. We don't want mini-me's and copycats. We want originality. So you being originally you is exactly what the universe wants. And what the universe does based on this is it expands. And so the universe purpose really is based on expansion. It's not just here to be in this little box, to just sit here and go, okay, I'm in my comfort zone, I'm good. No, the universe doesn't want that. The universe wants to expand. And so through that expansion, the way we expand often is through lessons and through blessings, but often the lesson is the blessing. And so through that, the universe gets to know itself, because we are the universe, and the universe is also us. And so as we do that, we get to expand. And as we expand, the universe expands. And so karma to me is all about expansion and an opportunity to integrate any unhealed wounds, any difficult lessons that we have to learn how to master. Now, the beautiful thing about the universe is you can't fail. You can't fail. The universe doesn't work on a fail scale, right? The universe is either pass or repeat. Pass or repeat. You choose pass or repeat. That's it. You can't really fail, because there's always going to be an opportunity, another window where you'll be given that same test, that same lesson, and what will you choose in that moment will determine the trajectory of your path. So remember, the universe is always for you. Everything is always working for your good. If something negative happens, it's ultimately for your good because it's showing you, okay, how can I make this a positive experience for myself? I know what I don't want now. How can I find what I do want? So it's always giving you that opportunity to increase your knowledge, to increase your awareness, and to find what is your true path. How can you align to your soul purpose? And so when the universe does this, it's really to benefit you through these karmic blessings, right? So I was going somewhere, and I feel like I don't know where it went, but keeping it moving, that's what the universe does, right? It's gonna always give you these set challenges that you kind of signed up for, right? You kind of sign up for them, and when they happen, the universe wants you to pass, right? So the universe is going to keep bringing them to you to say, okay, maybe you weren't ready to pass it this time. So we'll repeat it. And then next time, and even if it takes you X amount of times, it does not matter how many times you have to repeat a situation. I mean, you might be frustrated, you might be done with it, but if you don't pass it, it's because you weren't ready, and you can't be where you aren't. So there's no need to beat yourself up if you're like, man, I did the same thing or whatever. That's okay, because there will always be another opportunity to try again. So, with karma being an opportunity to integrate previous lessons, an opportunity to expand, really it's about just thinking, what do I want to do differently? Because we know the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect different results. So when you receive that good karma is where you take something and you go, oh, okay, I've either been in this situation before, or I know I don't want to be in it again. So let me try something else, And when you pass those lessons, you get that promotion, you pass, you go to the next grade level. And so it's very similar to karma. So to me, all karma is good karma because it's all about how you choose to view it. If you choose to view karma in the way of being a female dog that's just going to bite at you any minute, and you use karma as a way to be vindictive and to get revenge on people, then you're actually causing your own negative karma. Because karma, I think some of us may think, well, if I'm just a good person, then nothing bad will happen to me. And then if something bad happens, then I must have caused it, or it must be some past life karma coming to get me. Not necessarily. Possibly, but not necessarily. Because the law of the universe is all about cause and effect. It's all about what you put out is what you get back. You reap what you sow. What goes up must come down, etc. Now, when negative things happen or challenging situations happen, sometimes we may blame karma, we may blame the universe, we may blame ourselves. But what we should try is really to just see, how can I learn from this? Because when we add blame to any situation, that's not really the ingredient that's going to help us, So when we just say, how can I learn from this? What is this teaching me right now? What do I now know based on this? That's when we can actually move forward. Because the other thing with karma is it goes in cycles. It goes in loops. It goes in a continual pattern, right? And so that's part of why this first episode here is about good karmas, because 9 is the highest number. And I think that's why 9 is a highly karmic number, because 9 being the highest number, when you pass 9, there's not really a 10. You repeat and you go back to 1. And that's how karma works. It goes in repetition, So sometimes, you're dealing with stuff that is past life stuff if you subscribe to that. Some of it is that. Some of it is current life stuff that you are needing to integrate and understand. And so with that, you get the opportunity to choose, what do I want to do here? What do I want to do in this situation? Do I want to repeat this? You know, and so there's not really a good or bad karma. It's all about what you send out is how the universe is going to respond. The universe doesn't operate on right or wrong, good or bad. It operates on, I will respond to whatever you put out. If you say you want to be the smartest person in your class, but yet you're not studying, yet you're not watching documentaries, you're not reading books, you're not doing anything, guess what? That's what you're going to get, nothing. Because the universe is going to always respond to what you put out. And I would definitely recommend checking out the Law of Attraction series I did. Because again, with these universal laws and governing universal energies, that they are very connected, you know. And so understanding the universal laws, I believe there are 13 or 12, probably more, who knows. But that's something to definitely get into, is to understand the law of attraction and understanding how to increase your karma, right? So sometimes, you know, you're just having life. You're putting out good vibes. You're like being friendly, being positive, etc. And then some challenge happens, and you're like trying to find, you know, the mind will try to rationalize it, right? Like, oh, you must have done something, or oh, this must be some past lesson or past life situation, or you need this experience for growth. Sometimes things just happen. Now that may feel disempowering, but sometimes things are out of your control, you know. And I feel like there's this mindset in the spiritual communities. It can be beneficial, but taken in the not the highest context, I think it can actually backfire. Which is it's kind of two principles in the spiritual community that I don't necessarily I agree with to an extent. And one of them is everything that happens you've caused, like the law of attraction, right? If something negative happens, that's you inviting it in, and that's, you got to own up to that. That's your responsibility. Like, you agreed to it on some level, etc., etc. To an extent, yes, that is true. However, I think where it becomes that danger zone, if you will, is when because what I feel like the spiritual communities that subscribe to that is they don't want to feel powerless. They don't want to feel like situations are out of their control. But the reality is, sometimes they are. Okay, life is not an either or this or that. Life is an and both concept. I feel like I've mentioned that in one of my previous episodes, and if you know which one that is, then gold star for you. But some of the things that we experience are not because we've caused them. It's just because those are the building blocks that we need for our expansion. Again, remember that the universe is about expansion. So the universe isn't trying to punish you when things don't go your way. It's actually saying, I need you to go through this so that you can overcome this. And when you overcome it, that will be an even greater victory story than you just having smooth sailing. And that's how the universe expands, and that's how we expand. So that's one concept of the spiritual community of, you know, blaming yourself and just like, oh, I must have been thinking something wrong and that's why this has happened. Perhaps, maybe, sure. But perhaps you just needed that experience and you didn't do anything wrong to cause that. Maybe you did everything right and that still happened. So when it gets to those moments of how do you explain good things happening to bad people and bad things happening to good people, karma isn't based on it is and it isn't based on who you are, right? Because the reason I say it isn't is because who you are will determine how you handle those situations, right? A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, for example. So if you're a good person, you got pure intentions, if something challenging happens, based on your own evolution, how you choose to handle that situation, you'll view it very differently than someone who's very negative mindset and just, you know, hates everybody, including themselves. And yeah, they're gonna probably maybe increase more of those situations, right? I don't know. I mean, I think you guys get what I'm saying. They'll handle it differently, whereas based on what's in you, it's kind of like you're holding a boiling pot of water, and whatever's in that pot is gonna spill whenever it tips. It's kind of like that. So I just think that it's kind of based on that, and then the other spiritual. I feel like it's a spiritual trap in a sense, is, again, I agree with it to a certain degree. There are varying degrees of truth, and there can be truth in anything that we choose to believe. And the varying degrees of that is interesting to me. But one of the things is the thought process that, as a soul, you already knew what you were getting into. You planned out your life experiences, etc. I think that, yes, I do believe that in conjunction with Source, Creator, Universe, as a soul, you understood your mission, all of the stumbling blocks that would help you on your path, and all of the blessings that would be bestowed to you. You understood that. However, I think that when you see people who've had, traumatic childhood, and you just say, "Oh, your soul agreed to this," Are you agreed to this? You were okay with this, or you invited in. I feel like it can invalidate that experience and almost take away the blame from where it actually belongs. Things that happen to you are not your fault, is what I'm getting at. And things that happen when you're in a powerless state are not your fault either. And I feel like we try these things to try to gain control and to take responsibility, to say, well, nope, you didn't do that to me, I did that to me. And it's like, yes, on a certain level, absolutely. But equally so, that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it valid, that or something that you deserve to have happen. And I just think that that's been something that's really been on my mind. I It's so funny because I actually just watched this, and it kind of goes hand in hand to what I'm talking about here. Now, I was going to wait to share this later on down the line, perhaps, but it's coming up now, so we're going with it. And yeah, I was getting ready to talk about this good karma, and I was thinking of all the things I wanted to mention about this, and I had just interesting. Maybe you guys have been feeling it too, just some interesting energies coming through and some heavy energies. And I felt the spirit saying to me to clear the Akashic records. Now, if you want to know what the Akashic records are, of course you can do a quick Google search. But I will be doing an episode on that in the near future, so stay tuned for that. But the thing is, sometimes there can be really heavy energies that create stagnation, right? So say you're doing everything possible. You're maintaining a good vibe, you're putting out love, you're doing all this stuff, but for some reason you feel so stuck. You feel like you can't get out of this bondage. You can't get out of this cycle. You feel stuck. You feel anchored to some situation or something that is just feels paralyzing. And you're not sure why, and yet it just keeps repeating, So, a couple other things I'll say is that about what karma is that I feel like there are two lanes for karma, right? There are two lanes. There's one lane where it's more of there's levels to it, right? It's more of the surface level of karma. Surface level experience of karma would be say you're driving and you're driving on the road, and then someone cuts you off, right? They just cut you off. And then 2 minutes later, someone cuts them off. And you're like, got him. Okay, you know what I mean? You're like, that's that instant karma right there. It's good karma right there. And you might feel like, okay, yeah, that's that karma, right? Yeah, that definitely is one form of karma. Definitely is one form of karma. Maybe you cut someone off, and then someone's cutting you off. Who knows? So karma happens in cycles. That's where I'm moving towards, is that what goes around comes around. So what's done to you, you probably do to someone else, and what has been done to you has probably been done to someone else. So I'll give a little example here of something that's happened in my path. So on my path, on my journey, um, I was in a relationship with someone, and the relationship started off based on a lie, right? I was lied to in the beginning of the relationship, and the truth came out later, and then I was like, whoa, like, okay, readjust. And it caused a lot of trust issues. Like, now granted, I probably already had latent trust issues, and then just reawaken those fears and those distrusts that already, and that's why I say, yeah, the law of attraction is always on. So I had those receptors to experience that. And so I learned a lot from that experience and did a lot of healing and everything after that. And then uh, sometimes you don't even realize that you're in a cycle, or that you're passing on karmic debt. You don't even realize it. And sometimes you do it unintentionally, and some people do it intentionally. But in this situation, it was very unintentional that I got into a relationship, after this one, got into the next relationship. And it started off with a lie. Again, right? Starts off with a lie, but this time I was the one starting the relationship off with a lie. So I wasn't being lied to this time, I was the one lying. And it took me years after that to kind of realize, maybe even up to this week, that I kind of like, it all came full circle, as things usually do. And hindsight is always 2020. I started thinking about it, like, when I had to go through that experience of what it felt like to be lied to experience and overcome and integrate those fears and those distrusts. Like, it wasn't that person, it was a reflection of something within me that I needed to kind of integrate. And, we're human, so we might feel mad at the person, but it was actually a deep betrayal for me that I had to really understand. And that actually is something that I feel is a past life connection too for me, is a sense of betrayal, of being betrayed or betraying. And so had to really understand that. And then when I got into the next relationship, I didn't go into it with the intention of, oh, I'm going to lie to this person because I've been lied to. No, I wasn't going into it with that mindset. I was going into it with whatever my mindset was at the time. And I was able to see things from the previous relationship side now, because now I'm in the other side of the shoe, right? And so I go, oh, wow, now I understand why people lie, out of fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, etc., fear of being neglected, fear of not being good enough, right? So I was able to have compassion on that previous relationship. And then at the same time, I was also able to feel the pain and devastation of breaking someone's distrust, or creating distrust and creating insecurities in another person, which was something else I had to carry and integrate and understand. And so through all of those experiences, I realized, like, I don't want to pass on this to anyone else. And so I set my new intention of being honest, operating with integrity, just being transparent, being authentic, And from there, that became my new intention. But I had to go through those series to integrate that lesson. So you'll always be given the opportunity to integrate what you say you want, right? So if another example, this is just a general example, random example, is because the universe is always going to make sure, like, do you want this? Like, you might have to go through this, and this to get there. And it can show up in so many ways. So just an example, maybe I'll come back to that one. I feel like I'll come back to that. I feel like it'll be a better plug later. But I say all that, all those lessons and experiences that I went through, they serve a purpose. And that's why all karma is good karma, you know, because, yeah, that might have been my karma to have, you know, to pass on to someone else. And it goes like that, where, like I said, you cut someone off, then you get cut off, and then et cetera, et cetera. You're mean to someone, next thing you know, they're mean to you. And it's deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like, oftentimes people who are predators were once abused themselves. Oftentimes those who abuse power had power abused against them. And it keeps going until someone says, wait a minute, wait a minute. I opt out of this. I choose to break this cycle, right? And this is why I mention the Akashic Records, is because sometimes things are very heavy, and they have continued and repeated, not only just, you know, a pattern that's happening right now, but patterns that have been ingrained in your soul. When you get this, this is the two streams of karma that I'm going to describe here. Two different streams of karma. You have one stream of karma that is, again, remember, karma operates in repetition, because it's like, wants to make sure you get it, wants to make sure you won't repeat it, wants to repeat it to either ingrain it, or like crystallize it, or to opt out of it. I don't know if that made sense, but so try to follow. Not saying you can't, you definitely can. But I'm gonna try to make this as clear as possible, because I'm still getting these downloads. I've been like trying to concise and make it clear, simple, and just palatable, but I'm like still getting all these downloads. So bear with the randomness if you're lost by it. Okay, so the two paths of karma, as I was mentioning, is karma is like it's kind of like a debt, right? Hence why this is coming out on the first of the month, right? The bill will come due. The bill comes due. Okay, so there's two separate ways I've been looking at karma. One is, say karma is like a subscription plan, right? Sometimes you meet people, or you have situations or experiences, and once it's over, once the debt has been paid, poof, done. You're out of there, you know? You go your separate ways, you never hear from this person, whatever the case is, and you're done. Other times, you have to unsubscribe, because that joint will repeat. Okay? If you do not unsubscribe, we will assume that you want this to continue, and we will continue to charge you. Right? So that's one way, is like, it's going to keep repeating until you choose to unsubscribe. So whether that's a belief, whether that's a limiting belief or pattern, whatever it is, if you continue in this path, this will be the trajectory for the eternity of this subscription. Okay? So that's one way karma can work. The other way, and this is the more intense, maybe needing some more clearing and some energetic releasing. This is where you've actually signed a contract, okay? And you may have heard of soul contracts before. So, in my opinion, these type of contracts do not end on their own. They will last for the duration of the contract. So again, sometimes the contract will, just be a 6-month lease. You got a 6-month lease. Once you're done with this experience, once you've gained all that you can, you release it and you're out of there, right? So that's one form of a contract, as using that as an example. But there are other contracts, such as marriage, that the only way you can get out of them is by drafting up another contract, i.e. divorce, okay? Now, in these contracts, you literally have to draft up another contract in order to get out of these type of patterns or limiting beliefs or whatever it is. And so you might feel like, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep attracting the same type of people, Why do I keep getting in the same situations, etc., etc.? And that may be because on a deeper level, there's an agreement. There's an agreement to some type of contract within your soul that is keeping you anchored into this space. It's keeping you stuck in that stagnation. And no matter how much hard you try, you do all the healing, you do all the meditation, you're still like, I don't know what is going on. It's because you have to draft up another contract. You have to divorce yourself from the patterns. You have to divorce yourself from the limiting beliefs. You have to divorce yourself from the wrong crowd. You have to do these things to get out of it, to break the cycle. Okay? Now, these cycles can be very much like the cycle of abuse. If you're familiar with abuse or domestic violence, it goes in cycles. You have the honeymoon phase where everything's good, and then it's not good, and then it's good, and then it's not good. And that will continue to repeat, a cycle of ups and downs, and it's very constraining. And so the universe gives opportunities, another doorway, another opening to say, hey, you can do this, you can do that, or you can stay here, And again, the universe rises off of your expansion. So the universe is always for you. It wants you to get your highest good. It wants you to fulfill your heart's desire. It wants you to fulfill your purpose and your destiny. Because without you doing it, the universe is limited. And if you limit yourself, then you're limiting the universe as well. And so I'm not even following my bulletins right now. But so with all of that, it's like sometimes there's debris from, former times, whether it's a lifetime that you feel you've existed on this plane before, or whether it's been in the star seed system. If you're familiar with star seeds, you can check that out as well. Or maybe just in a whole nother dimension where some stuff is just carried over. And it can be a lot, And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I believe that many of us that are here right now, that have chose to incarnate as this physical being, many of us are on our last trip around the sun. This is our last lifetime here, which is why your path has been extra challenging, which is why it's been extra brutal, is because you're not signing up for this again. So you're getting all of it done. You're clearing it all. You're doing it all. You're lifting up all of those heavy weights. You're breaking all the chains off of you. And if you feel that's you, I'm sending you much love, because it's not an easy path. But that's why, if you're wondering why it's been so much and so daunting, it's because you're doing a lot, and for those who for those who are, the chosen ones in their bloodline to break all these generational curses, like you're laying a good foundation, and it's not an easy battle. Do you think this would be easy on the last run through? No, it's not at all. And so I just want you to be encouraged and to just know, and if you're thinking, well, how do I know if this is my last time? Don't even worry about that. You just do your best. Do your best and leave the rest, right? Do your best. You do what you can do, and the universe will do what you cannot. So just don't even worry about that. If that resonated, great. If not, don't worry. Fret not. Because it's really about what we choose. And so I want to get into how we can activate this good karma, okay? And if you want to hear, I actually have created a good karma playlist, okay? Created a good karma playlist, and I created this back in 2019, I want to say, and then I've been adding to it ever since. And you might think, well, that was 2 years ago. Guess what? Time is an illusion. All right, so time is fluid. Time is irrelevant. Everything that we say, do, think is timeless. Okay, so if you listen to an older podcast of mine and it resonates at your particular situation where you are now, That's because time is timeless. Okay. So if you want to check out that, or you want to add me to the Apple Music, you can, and download this playlist for yourself. You most definitely can. Definitely just gives you good vibes, and just encourages you, wherever you are, and just reminds you to hopefully empower you, and to not feel alone. Additionally, that same year that I created this playlist, now for those of you who have been listening for a while, you've probably heard this. I did an episode titled The Final Chapter, called Karma. The Final Chapter, Karma. And I talked about what was happening, and I believe it's still relevant now, and I believe it'll be relevant again, because again, there are cycles, right? So a lot of times things are happening on a loop, okay? So if things are happening on a loop, they're relevant during that season, during that time. So I would encourage you to go back and listen to that if you haven't already, and see how that applies to you now. And when things are on a loop, you're given options, right? What you want to do with that. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with CDs and records, but if you remember CDs and records, if you get a scratch, if your CD has a scratch on it, or your record has a scratch on it, and you try to play it, that song, no matter what, is always going to skip when it gets to that part. When it gets to that scratch, it's going to skip. And it's very much like the loop, or the cycle of karma. There's no cure for that. You can't, maybe, I think that there was some way to try to cure, I don't know. But really, you can't cure a scratched CD. It's always going to skip. You have to just replace the CD. You have to replace it. You have to get a new system. You have to get an iPod. I don't care what you do. You got to upgrade somehow, right? So, I want to give you guys just some few things that I've seen as far as how to activate your good karma. And I will share the metaphor I was going to share previously. I will share that coming up here, but I want to just talk about some ways to activate the good karma. Okay. So again, all karma is good karma. It's all about how you choose to look at it. Okay. It's either a blessing in disguise, however you want to view it, But how to activate your good karma? One way to activate it is with consistency. Consistency is such a mystery, right? Consistency is key. Consistency is key. And so, consistency is going to get you from point A to point B. Kind of wish I hadn't referenced that now, but that's okay. Okay. Consistency is the key, though. And so what I mean by that is, if you say, hey, if you set your intention right, you set your intention to the universe, you say, I want a healthy relationship, right? The universe is going to send you. The universe is going to say, okay, I took your request. You want a healthy relationship. Now I'll use my example here. This is the metaphor I'm going to use for this. So say you are going to your local coffee shop and you order some hibiscus tea. And you get to the counter and they go, oh, here's your coffee. And you go, I didn't order any coffee. I ordered the hibiscus tea. And they go, oh, that's going to take about 20 minutes for us to get that ready for you. And you're like, okay. This is going to give you the opportunity to decide, do you settle for the coffee or do you wait for the tea? So the universe is going to be checking in with you through a series of events to see, are you going to be consistent with what you said you wanted? And so that's one way of being consistent. Of course, another way is consistently keeping your promises to yourself. If you say, hey, I'm going to leave my house 10 minutes early, get to wherever I need to be in advance, and you only do that one time a week, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain the vibration that you need to be in to receive what you want. And so you're going to want to be consistent, because the more consistent you are, the more the universe can align you to that. And that brings me to the next point, which is alignment. You have to get into your alignment and figure out what is my highest path, what is in my greatest good, right? All right, because when we're in resistance, we are out of alignment. When we go against what we want, when we resist our heart's desire, when we make decisions that are counter to what we actually are saying we want, we are out of alignment. So when we make negative choices, we are actually going against our own divinity. We're going against our own will, in a sense. And, we have free will, so we're able to make any choice we want. However, we are not, however, we have free will, but we're not free from the consequences of our choices. So whatever choices we make, we will reap those consequences. And so, being in alignment, staying in your alignment. Now, I feel like this is another shaky part that can be a little confusing, because sometimes when we feel like we're in alignment, we're like, hey, I'm doing everything that's like resonating, that makes sense, etc. So how come these things are showing up? Definitely had that happen on my path, where I've been like, I'm saying this is what I want, and I'm thinking I'm doing something in alignment because I'm doing what feels right. Even if my mind is kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical. So in those situations, I'm just thinking of the ways it's shown up in my life. In those situations, it's been like sometimes trauma and karma can kind of muddy up the water, right? If you're looking through muddy water, you can't see it clearly. You can't see the bottom. And so you're making choices out of a muddy situation. And that's what trauma can do. It can put a filter over our reality, also called an overlay. Shout out to Teal Swan. Also called an overlay. And so when we think we're doing things that are actually to our highest good, but we're not getting the results we want, it's because either some outside influence, some negative thought process, or like some advice that we have taken or accepted, or some belief we've agreed with on some level has actually interfered with our alignment. So it's really important to do as much healing as you can, because the more healing you have done, the clearer the vessel you will be to actually make choices based out of your personal alignment and what's going to be to your highest good. And that will reduce, self-sabotaging. That'll reduce just doubting yourself and just any of that. So that can be another tricky thing, is how to actually get into your alignment. And no one can tell you that but you. I mean, there'll be people who can help. I certainly hope some of these messages assist and generate some new thoughts for you. But, this is your path. And whatever you choose is perfectly all right. But wanting to make sure that you're choosing what is in the highest alignment for yourself may require, doing things that seem just different. I don't know how to explain it more than that. And then that brings me to awareness. Being aware of what choices you're making. Being aware of what you're actually agreeing to on a subconscious and conscious level. So what we really want is to make the subconscious conscious, so that we're not letting the subconscious run the show, letting our subconscious choose our partners and our subconscious choose our jobs and situations that we get into. It's very much like being raised in a family unit where, hey, we all were blacksmiths, so you're going to be a blacksmith too. And you're like, that's not my calling. I don't want to be no blacksmith. And they're like, well, we've all done it, so you got to do it too. And if you agree with that on any level, you might go, okay, I guess I got to be a blacksmith, even though I'm a fashion designer. Go for it. Or you choose consciously, nah, that might have been great for you, but I opt out of that. That's not my reality, deuces. Right? And then you focus on what your intentions are. Do you intend to just make other people happy? If so, then you're going to make decisions based on that as your intention. Or do you intend to do what's best for yourself and for all involved? Then you're going to make intentions based off of that. So setting clear intentions of where you're headed will help direct that path. help you understand this is where I'm going, this is where I'm headed. And then you want to balance your energies. So we're always operating with polarized energies, right? Life is a mixed bag of contradictions. So you have to balance that energy. You have to anchor into your own truth and focus on that. And then what I mean by balancing energies, balancing the masculine and the feminine energies that reside within all of us. So you may be overgiving and never being able to receive the universe is bringing to you. And if that's happening, you're in an imbalance because you're not able to receive. You have to be able to give and take equally. Balancing your light and your shadow aspects. Being able to give yourself grace, for your shadow side. Being able to just kind of love yourself and have compassion for the things you've done or things you haven't done. And being able to forgive yourself and move forward through that. So you want to balance out your energies. Balance out and align your chakras. And really focusing on what chakras you feel are, dense, are weakened in some sense, in some aspect, and figuring out how to balance those. Again, those are great resources. If you're not familiar with these terms, definitely there are great books and resources that you can find to learn more about that. And then finally, this is the main ingredient for karma. And again, all karma is good karma. So any karma is based on your choices. It's based on your free will, right? You have the will to choose. And every choice you make, there's no right or wrong. It's all about what choices you make will open up a whole new path for you. So if you want to hear more about that, I did an entire episode called GPS, where I talk about different paths leading to the same destination. So if you are given, certain paths, one may take a longer route, one may be the quickest route, one may have some toll roads on it, one may have different obstacles. Whatever the case is, there might be an accident on one side, on one road, I mean. And so it's based on your choices. The universe will always respond to whatever choice you make. So whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you are absolutely right. And the universe will respond to whatever you put out. What goes around comes back around. It's all full circle. So this is what I'm going to leave you guys with for this karma. It is all good. It is all well. And what's the irony of it all is that the universe will test you, but it's not really a test because, again, it's not a pass or fail. It's a pass or repeat. But the universe wants to make sure that you mean what you say and will verify that. And it also wants to help you maintain that vibration of what you say. So there will be challenges along the path. As soon as you say, it's, a lot of times when things are really going good and you've really decided, that's usually when something challenging happens. And that's not to punish you. That's to help build character and build strength and build stamina for you to achieve exactly what you want to achieve. And so as it would turn out, as I'm getting ready to post all this good karma, it's like I'm getting all these type of situations happening. I'm like, whoa. And I just heard the universe be like, well, will you practice what you preach? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely 100%. 100%. So I'm so grateful for these opportunities. And I'm just truly honored to be here, to be back recording. It's been a while, so I hope you guys will subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit the bell notification so you can get those videos as soon as they upload. If you are interested in counseling services, donation-based counseling, please reach out. You can find me any way where people are found. You can find me there. You can find me somewhere. And I'm definitely here to just send you guys so much good karma back because it's all connected. Everything gets a return, okay? It's not to harm you. It's to build you up because you are stronger than you know. So be well, be blessed. Stay tuned. And if you haven't sent in your request yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go on and send it in. because if you haven't heard your request yet and you've already submitted it, it's coming up this season. So thank you all very much. I'm so very grateful for you. I can't wait to just be with you guys and continue to download with you. As always, I'm sending you guys much light, much love. Be well. Until next time.